Hello, friends, and welcome to this sacred space. I'd like to begin our time together by lighting a light in the name of the God who creates life, in the name of the Son who loves life, in the name of the Spirit who is the fire of life. Yesterday's gospel lesson was actually two stories, and it was stories to me about lots and lots of different things, but the thing that I really picked up on yesterday was the interruption. That Jesus was, even at the beginning of this passage from yesterday, Jesus was coming back from healing a man with demons. After he'd done this healing, he hopped into a boat to go to the other side of the lake, was getting out of the boat, encountered another crowd. Don't know exactly where Jesus was headed. Maybe he was off to get a sandwich somewhere. But as he's getting off the boat, as he's starting to go wherever it is that he thought he was going, this man, this religious leader named Jairus, interrupts his plans and begs Jesus to heal his daughter. His 12-year-old daughter, who is to the point of death. This man, religious leader who is probably very accustomed to calling the shots and having people obey whatever it was he wanted to have done, was humbling himself before Jesus, submitting to his authority and begging Jesus to heal his daughter. So Jesus seems to tacitly agree and goes with him, even though he doesn't say a word about it, goes with Jairus. And then this other thing happens, where this woman who has been suffering and bleeding for 12 years has lost everything she has. She's lost her sense of community because she's an unclean person. She's lost her wealth, whatever wealth she had, because she's paid it for her own care in hopes of a cure. And so this woman approaches Jesus and reaches out to touch his clothing and tells herself, if I could just touch his clothing, I'll be made well. And sure enough, she does. She touches the clothing, and sure enough, she feels the healing happen inside her. Mission accomplished. But not so fast, because Jesus interrupts again his journey to Jairus' house, and asks the question, who touched me? And of course the disciples are like, what are you talking about, Lord? There are people pressing in on you from all over. It could be any of us, it's anyone. But Jesus was looking for the one, because he knew there was more work to do for and with this woman. More healing needed to happen, a restoration of community. And that happens when he seeks her, he finds her, and calls her daughter, restoring her to the community that she had not been fully a part of for 12 long years. With that interruption completed, he then continues his walk with Jairus to Jairus' house and ends up healing his daughter as well, actually raising her from the dead. So the interruptions. Jesus was interrupted by Jairus and was interrupted yet again by this unnamed woman. And he allowed the work of God to be done through the interruptions. He didn't roll his eyes. He didn't pout. He didn't stomp his feet in anger and say, haven't I done enough? It's time for me to go and have a sandwich. Although he could certainly have done all those things. And there are probably times where he did do those things because he knew that's what was needed. But he was able to discern in this time, in this place, that the interruptions were spirit-led, that God was working through these particular interruptions, and that he was going to participate in that work. So I bring up interruptions because we deal with interruptions a lot. We're dealing with some very big interruptions in our lives right now. We're dealing with the COVID pandemic, which is a huge interruption. We will soon be having the interruption of interim ministry. And my question for us all is, how are we looking for God in this interruption? How will the glory of God be revealed to us in these interruptions? What is the work of God that we'll be invited to participate in through these interruptions? Now that's for us. I'm saying us as a co-op community, but if you are not part of the Lebanon Lutheran Co-op, there are probably interruptions in your life too, where you can still apply those same questions, the same reflection, the same openness to what the Spirit of God is doing. Father Henry Nouwen wrote many great things about the faith, but one story in particular that he shared that I found very instructive is he talked with a priest who was working at the same home that Henry Nouwen was working at. It was a home for the intellectually and physically disabled. And this priest told Henry, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, but the priest told him, I used to complain about the interruptions all the time because they took away from my work. They took away from the important things I had to do, until I realized that the interruptions were the work. So friends, may we have a sense of God's invitation in whatever interruptions we find ourselves in. Thank you for this time together, and peace be with you.